Okay, everybody, welcome to Take It to the Table with Juanita. Or y'all, I am so sorry, y'all. You would not believe what happened to me at, I think it was maybe about 10 minutes till 7. We had a blowout in the neighborhood. All the power went out. So here I am, had everything all set up and ready to go. And the power went out. Not just the power, but also the internet went out. So I had to pack up everything and move to a different location. And I did that in less than 10 minutes, I would say. But nevertheless, the devil is busy, but God is busier. So we're here now and we're going to get started. I have my guests waiting in the lobby and we're not going to keep them long, y'all. Y'all, it's been, y'all just don't even know. But anyway, nevertheless, we have our guests waiting. We're not going to prolong the time. We're going to bring them on. We have 3 candidates tonight to introduce to you, and I'll bring them on, and then I'll let them share with you a little bit about themselves. And if you guys have any questions at all, remember, put your questions in the comment section, and we will get to your questions hopefully by the end of the live, okay? So without further ado, let me go ahead and invite our guest on. Okay, so I think we have all 3 of our guests on. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Take It to the Table with Juanita Orr. Thank y'all so much for joining me tonight. And I don't know if you heard my little testimony before. When I got on, y'all, let me tell you, we had a power outage in the neighborhood. So all the power went out like 10 minutes till 7. All the power went out. Something went boom, and the power went out, and the internet went out. So I had to pack up everything, move to a different location, and here I am. So I'm sorry about that. I am so sorry about that. But again, like I said, welcome to Take It to the Table with Juanita Orr. And it's an honor. It's an honor to have each of you on tonight. And we're going to allow you guys to share with our viewers a little bit of information about yourselves. And then we'll get right into our questions. So we're going to start out with Miss Latanya. Can you start out with us, please, if you don't mind? Can everybody hear me well, first of all? Can you hear me?
Yes.
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 Okay, good, good, good. And before we get started, let me ask everybody that's on, please share the live. If you're on Facebook, on my personal page, on my Take It to the Table page, on my YouTube channel, please share the live right now, if you don't mind. As you come on, please share the live. We want to go ahead and make sure that everybody get to hear what these candidates have to share with us tonight. So, Miss Latanya, can you go ahead and you can start? And am I pronouncing your name correct? I don't want to mispronounce your name.
It's Latanya.
Latanya. Okay. Mm-hmm. Can you go ahead and share with us briefly a little bit of information about yourself and what's your political platform?
Well, I do live in Wlliams, and I'm currently the auditor for Hampton County. My grandmother and my mother were actually raised in Early Branch here in South Carolina. So, you know, my roots go back pretty far here. And I did go to school at Wayhampton. I'm also a member of the Bethlehem Baptist Church in Early Branch, where I am the treasurer of the church. And I actually started working at Hampton County in 2006. So I've been there for like 18 years now. And I began as a temp, which is crazy. I started out as a temp to the administrator of the county. And after that, I moved around to a couple of different offices where they needed me in a temporary capacity until I ended up in the delinquent tax office. And that's where I was for the past 14 years until I became auditor.
Okay. Thank you. And so, and what's your political platform?
Well, in my position, there is really no need for me to play politics because everything that I do is mandated by the law of the state of South Carolina. And so there's no room for me to pick sides. I just go in and do what I have to do. And I'm a big believer in democracy. I believe that everybody has a voice and everybody needs to be able to use their voice. So my platform is to choose people over the politics because that's where the people belong. The people don't belong stuck in the mud of politics. And dealing with on a county level where our taxes pay for schools, EMS, fire, the sheriff department, we all pretty much have to help each other as a community. So for me, as the auditor, I I subscribe to a way of thinking that if you focus on one thing, you put yourself in a box. So it's better to think outside of that box because there's more room for critical thinking outside the box. So I don't focus on just one thing. And being that my job is mandated by the law, I basically go in and do what I have to do. But I'm also an advocate for the people whenever the time comes. I get people that come in my office from all different background. Is Hampton County isn't very diverse, but it's beginning to be. And I get people from all different backgrounds in my office, and we all have the same problems, issues. We're all paying taxes. And it's not a thing that people like to do or want to do, but you have to do it. And it makes the community work.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing that information with us. And next we're gonna have Miss Kamika. Can you share with us a little information about yourself and tell us a little about your political platform?
Yes. Thank you again, Ms. Juanita, for allowing me to be on your podcast. Good evening, Jasper County and surrounding areas. My name is Kamika Beaton. I'm a native here of Jasper County, born in Charleston, South Carolina. I have a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration from Allen University. Also a Master's of Science from Square University in Forensic Accounting. I currently serve as a staff accountant for Palmetto Breeze Transit, which is a local transportation company for 5 counties in the Low Country, which is Beaufort County, Hampton County, Allendale County, Jasper County. I'm running on the platform of leadership. The new leaderships I plan to bring to Jasper County Clerk of Court office is fairness, accountability, commitment, transparency, and systematic. Ms. Margaret Boston did a fantastic job for 34 plus years. Change is good as long as it's good change. As Ms. Latanya stated, I'm not big into politics. I've always been a person to get out and vote. If you allow your voice to be muted, my slogan when I first started running for clerk of court, unmute yourself, tag me in. I'm now ending the slogan with, don't count me out, but write me in. We as young people, which is myself, I'm a young individual. We just wait till the general election, which, president election comes up to vote. We don't think about the local election people, the auditors or clerk of court or the treasurer or county council. We think, okay, let's just get out and vote for the president and forget about people who serve on a local level. This election is very crucial. Since I have ran as a write-in candidate, since my filing on April 8th, I have been active in my community. I have always been active within my community. My county, Jasper County, lack transparency. And I feel like each county lacks transparency. It's all about being open and honest to the people, because if you're an elected official, you work for the people. The people don't work for you. You work for them. My main leadership skills I want to bring to the clerk of court office if I'm elected for the next 4 years is fairness. That's number one. Accountability. I feel like Jasper County lacks accountability. Everybody should be held accountable for their action. Commitment, because I'm a well-committed person to my job, and transparency. Being open and honest and being straightforward with the people of Jasper County. Once again, Ms. Juanita, thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thank you so much for that information. And next, we're going to have Mr. Russell Ott. And Mr. Russell, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, because I know you're busy, but thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule tonight and joining us. And I'll allow you to share a little bit of information about yourself and tell us a little bit about your political background.
Sure. Thank you.
Platform, I'm sorry.
Sure. Thank you, Juanita. And good evening, everyone. It's so good to be on the podcast with y'all. Juanita, congratulations. Sounds like you went through a lot to even make this happen tonight. So kudos on your perseverance. That's pretty neat. My name is Russell Watt. I'm more in the Midlands of South Carolina. I'm here in Calhoun County, right outside of St. Matthews, South Carolina, and I am running for the South Carolina State Senate, District 26, which is about half of Calhoun County and a large portion of Lexington County, and then also parts of Richland County, mainly downtown Columbia. I've been in the South Carolina House of Representatives for the last 11 years, representing House District 93, which was all of Calhoun and then parts of Orangeburg and parts of Lexington County as well. So, running to replace long-serving Senator Nikki Setzler, who had served in the South Carolina State Senate for the last 48 years. And he announced earlier this year that he was going to be retiring. And so when he made that announcement, we decided to throw our hat in the ring. That was early February. So it's been a wild and crazy year. We had a hotly contested primary race that we were thankfully victorious in, and then we moved immediately over into the general election. So it's been fantastic. Senate District 26 is a very diverse district. You've got rural Calhoun County, rural Lower Lexington around Swansea, and then you've got suburban areas like Casey and West Columbia, and then you've got heavily urban downtown Columbia. So it's very diverse. It's I think the senator for this area needs to be someone that's willing to roll up their sleeves and work hard for everyone. And that's what I bring to the table is, I want to do things differently. I think that right now, we are extremely divided in this country and also in this state. Partisan politics seems to have, a chokehold on everyone. And I think that what I've learned, certainly by going around the district and talking to so many different people, is that we've got really a lot more in common than a lot of people would have us to believe. The folks that I talk to, they want to make sure that their kids get a good education. They want to live in safe communities. They want a good paying job that they can support their families with. That's pretty much the goal of everyone. Now, obviously we may have different opinions on how we ultimately accomplish those goals, but I think that we need to focus on our similarities rather than constantly focusing on our differences or hearing outside voices tell us that we're so different. So we've approached this election from a different perspective. It's pretty much the way that I've approached my job in the South Carolina House, which is, just working hard, but also keeping an open mind and a willingness to work with anyone, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. I'm a proud Democrat from rural South Carolina. But I also understand that, the Republicans have pretty much complete control of everything in South Carolina, from our constitutional offices to the state house to the House of Representatives and in the Senate. So if I was going to be an effective member of the House for my constituents, then obviously I'm going to have to be able to work with Republicans to get things done. And so, I'm proud of the relationships that I've built. I'm proud of the trust and integrity that I've shown, and I think it served me well in the House. And I look forward to bringing that same type of mindset over to the Senate. I just want to congratulate, the other two folks that are on this call. Ladies, congratulations for putting yourself out there. I think it's amazing. You are certainly, I agree that local government is certainly government that is closest to the people. Y'all interact with folks each and every day at the clerk of court and auditor's office. So congratulations. I wish both of you the very best of luck. Just a brief bit about myself, Juanita. Big public education guy. My mom was a public school teacher. My dad's a farmer. So I've grown up on the farm here in Calhoun County my whole life. Public education will always be at the very top of my platform and the thing that I care about the most. I think that if we improve public education, then we solve a lot of the problems that are truly holding South Carolina back. Graduated from Swansea High School. So, Latanya, we played y'all in baseball and football. We played Wade Hampton back in the day. I don't know if they still do now or not. But then I went to Clemson University, got my undergrad at Clemson, and then came back to USC and got a master's degree in public administration from South Carolina. And so I still work on the family farm to this day with my dad and my uncle and my brother, and also do work with Farm Bureau advocating on behalf of South Carolina's farmers. So thank you all so much for the opportunity to be with you. I look forward to answering any questions anyone might have.
Okay, and thank you so much for that, Mr. Russell. Now, and for everybody that's on, please, if you have any comments or any questions, please put them in the comment section. And like I said, we'll try to get to them before the end of the show. We're gonna go back to you, Miss Latanya. Can you give us some information? What are your qualifications and your experience as the Hampton County? Well, are you the auditor now? Are you just running
Yes.
for the office? You are the auditor. Okay,
No,
can
I'm
you give us
currently the auditor. Yeah, I was elected in 2020.
okay, can you give us some information on what are your qualifications, which you're already in the office, but just share with us briefly
Yeah.
a little bit of information about your qualification and experience.
And basically, the life of my career has been in, yeah, the duration of my career has been office administration mainly, and that's how I ended up in the position as the administrative assistant for the administrator for Hampton County back in 2006. And from there, I went to the delinquent tax office. I was kind of a floater between the delinquent tax office and the auditor's office, which, if you know anything about the taxation process, we work closely with the treasurer's office, delinquent taxes, the assessor's office, and also the building department. That's pretty much the core of the taxation departments. And I became a floater, and I went back and forth between the delinquent tax and the auditor's office during their peak busy times. And I just ended up staying in the delinquent tax office. And that's the office that's responsible for collecting taxes after March 17th when they become delinquent. And that's also the office that's responsible for the tax sale. When you don't pay your taxes in South Carolina, your property is sold at the tax sale. But a lot of people don't know that there is a redemption period. You don't lose your property right away. There's a period of redemption that's a year and a day. And the owner of the property does have that year and a day to redeem their property back. And I'm also, as the auditor, I'm a big part of that process as well. After the tax sale is over, whatever properties are remaining is actually put on a list that's given to the auditor's office, where you can bid on it straight in the auditor's office as an auditor's assigned bid. So my background in collecting taxes, I thought was going to make it easy to be the auditor, but I learned that billing is much different from collecting taxes. So that was a little bit of a shock for me to learn how intricate it really is and how important it is, because if I make a mistake, you end up paying more than you're supposed to pay. And the purpose of taxes is for us to pay our fair share in order for the entities around the county to be able to function. And if I don't bill enough, then the county doesn't get enough revenue. If I bill too much, then I'm asking a person who already had a difficult time paying their taxes to pay more, and they have to wait for me to fix it in order to get a refund. So I try to take that part very seriously. Like, accuracy is a must for me. And being in the delinquent tax office dealing with money prepared me for the accuracy part. But learning the laws of the government and taxation, it was kind of difficult. And I'm still learning stuff every day, because not every situation is the same. People's jobs aren't the same. There are many people moving. There are many people moving into the county, moving out of the county, inheriting property, getting married, and you need to know what to do in all of those situations. And my job is to help them through that.
Okay. And same question for Ms. Kamika. Can you give us a little bit of information about your qualifications and your experience, and what makes you the best candidate for the Jasper County Clerk of Court?
Like Mr. Russell stated earlier in his opening, I'm a newbie. I have no experience whatsoever in the clerk of court office. I do have a background within accounting. My accuracy for numbers, efficiency, I'm big on that. I'm a fast learner. Um, if I'm elected to become the next clerk of court of Jasper County, there's a budget set aside for Ms. Margaret Boss to train that person. It's all about taking notes. I trust my counties to make the best decision to elect me as the clerk of court for the next 4 years and come on and on. Um, I started a master's in criminal justice in 2020 when the pandemic hit. I haven't finished my master's in criminal justice. I plan to pursue that this year before the year ends. I feel like I'm the best candidate because I'm for the people, for all people, whether you're Republican or a Democrat. I am a Democrat, but I don't see parties. I just want our county to be run on fairness. Um, and I just want to be
Great.
given a shot to become the next clerk of court of Jasper County.
Oh, okay. And that's what it's all about, being fair. I don't
Yes.
blame you for that. Now, Mr. Art, can you answer the question too? What are your qualification and experience for the South Carolina State Senate seat?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Like I said, I think, my biggest qualification is that I've served in the South Carolina House for the last 11 years. And, I've certainly built a lot of relationships, not only with my colleagues in the House, but also folks over in the Senate. One of the things that I'm very proud of is the fact that I've actually been able to get legislation passed in the South Carolina House of Representatives, as a Democrat. And that's not always the easiest thing to do, in a body that is so heavily partisan and heavily controlled by members of the other party. But, I really think that that is what sets me apart from my opponent. Lexington County is a large part of this Senate district. It makes up about 65% of the overall Senate district. And, Lexington County lost two very long serving senators this year. Like I said, Nikki Setzler, who I am hoping to replace, served for the last 48 years. And then also Senator Katrina Shealy, who was also from Lexington. She was defeated in her primary against her opponent. So Lexington County is going from having a very prominent place at the table with, two different committee chairs, two different members that were on Senate Finance. They're gone. And so, I think that it's very important for particularly Lexington County that someone is able to step in that has those relationships, that understands what it takes to get things done at the General Assembly, that has already built a reputation of integrity and trust and hard work. That's going to be a big deal for Lexington County, and making sure that they continue to have their voices heard. And, for Calhoun County has not had a resident senator since the early 80s. So it's been a very long time. We're a very small rural county. So I think it would be a big deal, living in rural South Carolina, where we continue to see population decline all across the state of South Carolina. It's very important that rural South Carolina continues to have a voice, because I think that folks that live out in the country deserve, clean water, sewer and wastewater. Our kids deserve broadband. We deserve health care, right? I mean, one of the things that we've seen is our rural hospitals have a very hard time surviving in today's time. So, it's very important that we have strong voices advocating on behalf of rural South Carolina. And that's a big deal when it comes to Senate District 26. So I certainly believe that I'm prepared and uniquely prepared in this particular race to be the one that goes to the Senate to serve Senate District 26 well.
Now, let me ask you, Mr. Ott, while we have you speaking right now, what specific issues do you think are most pressing in your district right now, and how will you address them?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, the issues that I think are affecting Senate District 26 are certainly some of the same issues that I think are affecting South Carolina as a whole. And so again, I always talk about public education. Quite frankly, there's an assault on public education by folks today. There's a lot of people that are advocating for the voucher system, where we take our public dollars and we send them ultimately to private schools. And I just don't think that's right. I think that we've got to keep those dollars invested in our public schools. We've got to make sure that they are being used wisely. And, I'm a big proponent of getting money to the classrooms. Our teachers in South Carolina, I don't think have the respect that they should. We've done a good job over the last few years of increasing teacher pay, but we've really only kept pace with our neighboring states. We haven't really caught them or even come close to going around them. And I think, because of that lack of respect, because we haven't kept pace with teacher pay, that's why you see so many different teachers, so many teachers across the state and in Senate District 26 leaving the classroom. And so the end result of that is our kids are being packed into classrooms. There's class sizes where teachers aren't able to truly teach. They really are focused only on managing the classroom. And that's just not a good scenario for learning. That's not a conducive environment to teach our kids. And I think, the results are speaking for themselves a lot of times. So, certainly think that we've got to focus on improving public education, but that means first and foremost that we've got to stop those that would like to take dollars out of our public schools and send them to private schools through vouchers. Healthcare is extremely important. We've got a lot of folks here in this area that, are young working adults that haven't started their families yet. They make just enough. They make a little more money than to be eligible for Medicaid, but they don't make enough money to be able to afford their own private insurance. So that's why I'm a big proponent of Medicaid expansion. We had the opportunity to expand Medicaid about 10 years ago. But unfortunately, folks have been blocking that for the last 10 years. And, it makes no sense to me. I'm all about common sense. And, our taxpayers are already being taxed and sending this money to Washington, D.C., and other states are getting the benefit from it. And so I really think it's past time that we expand Medicaid, get folks on some health coverage so that they can have primary caregivers, try to identify and start working on some of these health problems before they get larger and more expensive and harder to take care of. I think if we do those two things, focus on those two core pieces of government, that it could have profound impacts in society. And it's certainly two issues that I want to lead on when we get to the Senate.
Okay. Thank you for that information. That was some good information. So Miss Kamika, how would you ensure that the clerk of court's office provides excellent customer service to the public?
I would start by having different forums, different meetings that works for the public time. A lot of meetings in Jasper County is, like 5 or 6 o'clock. Just reaching out to the actual public, which is the citizens of Jasper County, to see what they would like and how they would like the clerk of court office to be ran. As stated before, change is good as long as it's good change. I'm open to all changes. If I'm elected, the people that's currently serving, working in that office, sitting down with them and seeing what they would like to do differently, so the office can continue to transition in a way that citizens of Jasper County will like for it to be ran.
Okay. So, and back to you, Miss Latanya. Latanya, I don't know why I want to call you Tanya, but I'm sorry, Miss
That's okay.
Latanya. So you're running for re-election, so that means you're already doing the job.
Yeah.
So share with us some of your success stories since you've been in the position.
Well, the first couple of years were really rocky. It seems like Murphy's Law was in full effect. Everything that could have went wrong did go wrong. And my first year, I got the taxes out late, and it was due to a misunderstanding. I guess I would call it a misunderstanding with the millage rate. And being that I'm a new auditor, I had to. I do not calculate the millage. First of all, the county council calculates the millage, but there were so many questions of whether it was being calculated correctly, and also they added a couple of new lines on there, and the citizens weren't happy about a tax increase. So that my first year was like, it was kind of crazy, and we had people calling into the office and yelling and leaving bad reviews on Facebook, just because the taxes went up, but I was not in control of that. But what I am most proud of is the fact that when it came to me speaking out about that, I stood in front of county council and told them, what I was going through and how I was very unhappy with the process, being that I was a new auditor and the people that were responsible for that part of the millage had been there for years before I got there. But all of a sudden there was a problem with it, dealing with the new auditor, and then we also had a lawsuit from the school district due to that millage because they just wouldn't listen. And I am proud of the fact that I was able to get up and stand up in front of county council and let the citizens and county council know that I was not happy. The citizens weren't happy, and I didn't think it was fair. But by law, I'm mandated to basically take orders from county council, even though I don't report to county council or administration. But the law says I have to levy the millage as instructed by county council. And that was a difficult task, being that it was my first time ever doing it. So I am proud of that fact. And I'm also proud of the fact that whenever there is an issue, because there were a couple of issues that came up, I do speak out about it. I'm not one of those people that's just going to sit and be quiet when I know things are wrong. And I know everyone has seen the articles in the newspaper. If you ride through Hampton County, you see the signs on the side of the road asking for transparency and truth, where frankly, it just wasn't a lot of it going on at the time with our administration. And I spoke out about that because, like I said, I didn't think it was fair. And the people in the end were the ones who had to suffer the consequences, so to speak. And we're still kind of dealing with that. We're in the mud with that right now. And I think with our new administrator, I really do believe he is trying to do everything that he can do to get us out of the situation that we're in. It's difficult to come into a bad situation and make it better. It's very difficult. And then you have people on the outside looking in, thinking we're not doing enough or we're not doing what we should be doing. So they feel like they want to oversee everything that we're doing now. And now, in order to get the answers to satisfy them, but they're never going to get the answers that are going to satisfy them, because there are certain things that have to be done a certain way. And if you're not on the inside, you don't know what those restrictions are. So it may look different from the outside. But I think our new administrator is really trying to get us out of the predicament that we're in. And maybe in the future, we'll be able to bring down the taxes once it's fixed. But right now, we just kind of have to wade in the water.
Okay, so and that goes to my next question for you. What are your future plans to, in order to get that resolved?
Well, that the financial part of the situation, I really can't resolve. What I can do is, continue to do the billing portion of the tax collection part, where I make sure that we are lined up to get the revenue that the county needs to operate. The other side of that is finance and the treasurer's office. They kind of they have the control in that capacity, where they are the ones who have to make sure everything is paid and the money is spent correctly and put where it's supposed to be put. But I just have to make sure that it's available. And what I'm planning to do is I want to bring us into the 21st century, because a lot of what we do is still on paper. A lot of our files are still on paper. If you look at the county website, it's very outdated. There's information there, but that's pretty much all that's there. You can download forms, but you can't fill them out online. You still have to find a way to print the form, fill it out, scan it, email it back, or fax it back. So that's really an antiquated system. And I'm hoping to bring us into the future, into this century with that portion. So we're going to be working a lot with repairing, updating the website, and also my Facebook page. I'm not really on it a lot now, the auditor's page, but I do post information on the auditor's page, and I would like it to be more active, really. But that's going to take some time, and it's going to take some effort on that part.
Okay. So, and Mr. Ott, we're going back to you with your question. So in one of your ads, you do mention how you don't have a problem with working across the aisle to get things done. Can you give us an example of a time that you worked across the aisle with something that was successful?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Like I said, it's one of those things that I'm most proud of, is being able, I believe, to be effective in the General Assembly. You know, one of the things that I've worked heavily on during my time in the House of Representatives is energy issues. Uh, you know, uh, Everyone probably remembers the whole VC Summer nuclear reactor situation that transpired. I think it was somewhere around 7 years ago now, where SCE&G had partnered with Santee Cooper to try to build two brand new nuclear reactors in Fairfield County. It did not go well, obviously, and those those two projects did not come to fruition. When that happened, it really peeled a lot back, and a lot of folks were able to, I think, see a lot of things that had been covered up and hidden for quite some time. And it kind of enveloped a lot of different entities, right? One of the entities was the electric cooperatives of South Carolina. So like I said, live in rural Calhoun County. I get my electricity from one of the electric cooperatives that operate in South Carolina. I get mine from Aiken Electric, but we have Tri-County Electric Cooperative that also operates here in Calhoun County. And they do, very important work. We've got Duke Energy in the upstate. We've got now Dominion and in a lot of places around the Midlands, and we have Santee Cooper that direct serve residential customers, Horry County and along the coast. And they also provide the electricity to the electric cooperatives, but the cooperatives are governed by different boards. And for a very long time in South Carolina, they operated kind of under a cloak of secrecy. They were not very transparent. A lot of decisions were made out of the sight of the member customers that they served, and that ultimately led to some of the board members here in my area taking advantage, of their roles as board members, and that wasn't a good thing. A lot of that came to light, and so I introduced legislation in the House of Representatives to really shine a lot more transparency on our boards, required them to give, make submissions that were easily available to their customers, made them, have their board meetings online, worked with the different cooperatives, but also had to force some things through. And obviously, to get that legislation passed, I had to cross over the aisle and work with my Republican colleagues to garner their support so that we could ultimately get it passed, not only in the House, but also in the Senate. So as everyone knows, to get legislation passed, it has to pass not only the House of Representatives, but it also has to pass the Senate, and then it has to be signed into law by the governor. So really very, very proud of that legislation because I really think that it gives, rural electricity customers all across the state of South Carolina more tools to know what, decisions are being made on their behalf. Ultimately, what decisions are being made that goes into the cost of their electricity. Look, at the end of the day, I think everyone's had a rough, 3, 4, 5 years, really all the way back, since COVID. We've all been struggling, quite frankly. It's hard to pay the bills. It's groceries have gone up. The cost of living continues to go up. And the last thing people need to be doing is paying more for their electricity bills than they should be paying. So, I'm all about trying to keep as much money as I can in hardworking South Carolinians' pockets. So if that means, trying to think of innovative ways to drive down the cost on electricity, I'm all for it. If it means trying to bring in revenue from other places other than the actual South Carolina taxpayers' pockets, I'm all for it. I think that there's a lot of things that we can do to generate revenue that doesn't come directly from our taxes. And so that's what it's all about, is trying to improve the lives of the people that I represent and improve the lives of folks all across South Carolina. I know that to do that, I've got to be willing to work with everyone.
Okay, and thank you for that, Mr. Russell. And you mentioned about the nuclear plant. So my husband actually works with, well, SCENG Scanner,
Eh,
Dominion.
Right.
He's been working with um with SCENG for about almost 30 years now. So I
Sure.
know exactly what you're talking about when you talk about that phase and the things that went on down there. So
Yes.
yeah, I know.
I know
But
you do.
yeah, so Miss Kamika, we want to ask you, okay, you're a write-in candidate. How does the process work for a write-in candidate? And help us to understand. And I guess my question would be to um, how did you become a write-in candidate, if that makes sense?
I stepped out on faith. Someone approached me. I lost my mother this year. Someone who's currently active within politics himself. He approached me about running for a clerk of court. My opponent, Mr. Keith Horton, he's listed as a Republican. He would have ran unopposed and he would have won unopposed. I'm not a person who just sit back and just, let a person just run it unopposed. I prayed about it before I actually stepped out and put myself out there. Got the decision from God. I said, hey, everyone keeps telling me it's impossible to win as a write-in. By the grace of God, anything is possible. I have been active since I filed as a write-in candidate on April 8th. If you put in the work, you trust God, and people see that you're sincere, all will work out. To write me in, it's easy. You can ask for help at the poll. Everyone keeps saying it's 3 minutes. You don't have 3 minutes to vote. You have longer than 3 minutes. That's your right. When you see Mr. Keith Horton on the actual ballot as a Republican, there will be a spot that says write-in. You're going to click on that actual box and type me in. When you go to the poll, don't think about write, because when you think about write, you're thinking about, oh, I have to write her in on a sheet of paper. You're going to type me in electronically on the machine. You're going to see that spot that says write in. The keyboard is going to appear so you can write me in. And my name is spelled C-A-M-I-K-A. Last name is Beaton. It's spelled B-E-A-T-O-N. Whether you vote Great Party, you vote Democrat, Republican, you still can write me in. If you're unsure on how to write me in, you can ask for assistance. You can bring your sample ballot with you. You can take my name on a sheet of paper to write me in, but it's easy. Just triple check your ballot to make sure I'm on that ballot. If I'm not, you can say, hey, something's wrong. They can spoil your ballot, and you have the right as a citizen to revote again. They're going to spoil that ballot so you can make sure I'm right in to become the next clerk of court of Jasper County.
Let me ask you this, because I noticed, and I don't know where I saw this information, but your name written in like several different ways. So
Yes.
do they have to be specific on the way they write the name in? But I saw it was spelled like so many different ways that it could be spelled. So that means that you register with all of those names.
Yes.
And
yes.
so no matter how they write the name, it's going to be counted.
Yes. It can be spelled Bitten, B-N-T-O-N. It can be spelled C.Bitten or C Beaton. As long as the Jasper County Voters Registration Board can identify that that's me, I will get counted for that actual ballot. It's multiple different ways. I believe it's like 12 different ways I listed. But if they can identify that it's me, if they even just list Beaton, that will count towards me when it's time to tally up the votes.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I want to make clear, so people will know, even if they kind of misspell the name, it's still going to go towards your vote because you have it spelled in so many different ways registered with the state. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. When you're a write-in candidate, they ask you, or you can do your research to list it different ways so the Voters Registration Board can identify when it's time for them to tally up the votes. Different ways so the citizens, if they're unsure about spelling your name, but you have the right to take my name on a sample ballot, on a sheet of paper, you can write on your hand. If you want to take it, tape on back your ID or your voter registration card, you have that right to take it in the ballot with you when it's time to vote.
Okay, that's good information to know. So the closing remarks for everybody. I'm gonna give everybody a chance to give some closing remarks, and we're gonna start out with you, Miss Latanya. Can you start out with some closing remarks for the viewers? And we
Yes.
first of all, let me thank our viewers for getting on before you get
Yes,
started.
thank
I
you.
want to thank all of our viewers for getting on right now. Well, last time I checked, we had 300 plus viewers on all three platforms. So kudos to y'all for bringing the viewers in tonight. But yeah, go ahead and give your closing remarks, and then we'll move to Miss Kamika, and then Mr. Art. We're gonna give you the last say so with this whole live. Okay.
Mhm. Well, first, I think it's important that people know that Hampton County is a council form of government where the council makes the decisions. Even they have an administrator, but the administrator is the conduit. Basically, he's our advocate as department heads, and he takes what issues and things like that we have, he takes them to county council, and vice versa. County council passes ordinances and which are in fact laws for the county, and in order for them to run the county. So they make the ordinances, they pass it to the administrator passes it on. So that's generally how that works. So the reason I mention that is because I think it's very important for, if you want your voice to be heard, you need to come to county council meetings. You need to at least pay attention to what's going on in county council. Ask questions when you don't understand. And I'm the type of person, I'm always, my door is always open. I'm always in my office. Normally I'm in my office from 8 to 5. And I'm always open to answer questions and talk to people. Even if it's not dealing with the auditor's office, I can give you the information I know. And if I don't know, I will try to find out. And that's one thing that I'm really big on is information. And I do not set the millage rate. The county council, like I said, sets the millage rate. So that means I do not control the taxes, because I know the first time I was running, a lot of people were asking me, well, are you going to lower the taxes? I can't lower the taxes. There's nothing I can do about that. But what I can do is be your voice, be your advocate to speak out when it's time to speak out. And a lot of times the county council, they will listen. You know, they will take my advice. Like this year, we were really adamant about not raising the county taxes, because there are, I believe Hampton County is the third highest in the state. that's a lot, especially when you're dealing with an area that lacks industry and jobs. You know, we have people that live here that have to drive like 45 minutes to an hour to get to their places of employment just to bring the money back home. So it's important that we not out tax the people that live here. And we have lost a lot of people in the county that moved to other places. Our rate did drop because we lost a lot of people in the county that moved to other places. So you kind of got to balance out the taxes. Being that we don't have industry, we have to tax the people, but we don't want to tax the people out of the county. So we got to kind of look at other ways, other streams of revenue for the county in order for us to get money and not just tax the citizens to death. So I'm always an advocate for that because I live here. I pay the same taxes. My kids live here, you know. So we all are in the same bucket with this struggle, you know. And I just encourage people to, even if you can't make it to a county council meeting, it's on YouTube. You can see what's going on. And like I said before, this administration is really big on transparency and getting the information out there that we need to know. And without oversight, people tend to run amok and do what they want to do. And everybody needs oversight. Everybody needs checks and balances. And that's one thing that the citizens need to be more involved in is checking and balancing. And if you have a voice, and so you need to use it. Get out there and vote. Make your vote count. Make your voice heard because we're all in this together.
Amen. Thank you so much for those closing remarks. And so, Miss Kamika, the floor is yours.
Jasper County, I just want you guys to don't count me out, but write me in. Remember who was there for you. Remember who put themselves out there as a newbie. You can Google stuff all day long on a position, but if you haven't served in that position, meaning worked in that position, you don't know how that office is ran. Once again, my platform is on fairness, accountability, commitment, transparency, systematic. I'm a person that will be fair. I'm a person who's big on transparency. The clerk of court office, just moving the clerk of court office in a direction that it haven't been in, moving forward and not going backwards. I just feel like I'm the right candidate because I'm going to be fair to each and every one of you guys. I'm a person who's big on transparency. I be committed to my job. I'm willing to learn my job if I'm given the shot to become the next clerk of court of Jasper County. I'm going to continue to work up until November 5th. After November 5th, whether I'm elected or not, just think about who was there for you throughout the process. Think about the candidate who was active within the community, not up until election time, but who was active when they first filed. A candidate who's going to put themselves out there no matter what, who don't care about waving a sign, who will give you your last. Remember, when you go to that poll, remember to write me in. Don't count me out, but write me in. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Kamika. And Mr. Ott, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Juanita, and thank you so much for allowing me to be on this evening. And great job just on hosting, this podcast. It's a really big deal for those of us that are candidates to have an opportunity to come on and talk with folks and introduce ourselves to those folks that we're trying to ask for a vote from. So thank you for doing this. Certainly need to give a shout out to my good friend, my homegirl, Jeanette Coakley, who I hope is out there listening, for getting me hooked up with you. Love her to death. And so it's just been great to be on here with two fantastic candidates. Ladies, I do wish you the best of luck. Y'all, look, at the end of the day, I just want to impress upon everyone how important it is to go and vote. Unfortunately, I think a lot of times South Carolina appears to be very one-sided when it comes to politics and those people that we are ultimately electing. I don't think that we are. I don't think that the numbers, the partisan breakdown across the state of South Carolina necessarily truly represents the will of the people. But if folks don't get up and get motivated and go to the polls and cast their votes, if they don't, encourage their friends and their family and their neighbors to go and exercise this vitally important opportunity that only comes around, once every few years. I mean, we will be choosing our next president for the next 4 years. We will be choosing our members of the House of Representatives and the Senate, all of these local offices like clerk of court and auditor and treasurer. We'll be choosing county council members and school board members all across the state. And we don't necessarily get that opportunity, but once every few years. We have got to do a better job in South Carolina of motivating folks. Everyone that is here and that's listening tonight, I know I'm preaching to the choir. I'm sure everyone will go vote, but there's always more that we can do. Whether it's volunteering, to give rides to the poll, whether it's volunteering to make telephone calls on behalf of candidates that you support. There is always more that we can do to try to just encourage folks to go vote, and that's what it comes down to. Is I can tell you that in my race, it's going to be a turnout scenario. Whether I win or lose will probably come down to turnout. And so that's why I'm just, really encouraging everyone to use their opportunity. Your vote is your voice. And we never need to take that for granted. And, I think today a lot of folks are far removed from the times when there were a lot of people in society that did not have the opportunity to choose their leaders. And we've got to be mindful of that. We've got to remind folks that guess what? We might not think that it can go back to that way, but it can. If we aren't cognizant of what's going on, if we don't educate ourselves on the different candidates and the platforms that they stand for, then things can get worse. And I think that here in South Carolina, we are at the bottom of too many lists that we should be at the top of, and we're at the top of too many lists that I wish that we were further down the ladder. And we can do better, but it starts with who we choose to make the decisions for us in these offices. So just again, thank you. Y'all get out there and vote. Early voting has started. So it's Monday through Saturday, 8:30 to 6. And then obviously the big day on November the 5th. But I just encourage everyone to go and get it done now. You never know what might pop up, and what type of emergency might prevent you from being able to go on the 5th. So take the opportunity to go now while we have the opportunity to early vote. Go and get it done. And there's no time like the present. So again, thank you all so much for letting me be a part of tonight.
You're welcome, and thank you so much. And you're right, I'm going out in the morning to vote. Me and my
Good.
husband, we're going to vote in the morning. So, and Miss Kamika, you wanted one more last thing you wanted to say?
Yes, Mr. Russell touched based on it. It's all about educating yourself. Don't let your cousin or anyone do the research on these candidates. Educate yourself on each candidate. I don't care if my cousin was running. If he or she's not qualified for the position, I'm not voting for he or she. So go and educate yourself on each candidate that's running. Go to these different forums, go on their social media, do your own homework on these candidates. Don't vote for the candidate because of the party. Vote for the best and qualified candidate for these positions. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, and you are so right. And thank y'all again. It was such an honor to have each one of you on. And just a reminder to our viewers, remember to get your family covered with life insurance. And our slogan here at Take It to the Table, if you wait till you need it to get it, you waited too late. And it costs nothing to get a free quote. So you can contact me for your free quote. And thanks again, like I said, to all of my candidates and all of my viewers that are on. And like we say here at Take It to the Table, if it's something that you want to talk about, come on, let's just talk about it. Thank y'all again. Y'all have a great night.
You too. And good luck to you, Mr. Ott. And thank you,
Good
Juanita,
luck to
for having
y'all.
me.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Good luck, you guys.
Good luck.
Good night.